This only thing I want to do in life. That's what war means to me. That's what I've learned from the war, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for being here.
My name is Dalia Deek. I'm 16. I actually wasn't brought up in Palestine. I was brought up in the DC area, but every summer, since I was maybe 2 years old, I have gone back there and visited my family. 3/4 of my family lives there, and I'm actually leaving to Palestine in 2 weeks, so I know a little bit about the war. What war means to me, when I first heard about this session that's going to happen, immediately popped into my mind the Palestine-Israel war, which is a war that is really pressing and has been going on for over half a century and has affected so many people's lives in so many different ways. What war means to me is the permanent change of life, something you can't get back. It's the loss of loved ones, the change of your lifestyle forever, and everything in your life that you thought once was stable, secure, is just gone from you. I have had cousins and aunts and uncles. My great uncle was one of the first martyrs of the war in 2001. My grandfather was in the army fighting, and we've lost so many people to the war and had them jailed for no reason whatsoever, just because they even thought to say a single anything against, or something that could provoke a reaction from the other side. One of the stories I wanted to share with you was my cousin got married in 2003, which is also proof that life does go on even if you are in a war zone. And the family of the bride had to stay, of course, later than the rest of the guests, and we missed curfew. And there's a checkpoint on her village. So we're all in our bridal dresses, and the boys are in their tuxedos, and we're walking down this hill because no cars are allowed in our, really nice shoes and everything. And the soldiers stop us and tell us, if any one of you moves, we'll shoot. Me growing up in DC, guns, they're completely used to this. They're like, okay, well, all right, let's just go down and talk to them, try to see what's going on. My heart's beating 1,000,000 miles per hour. I couldn't think. I was like, what if I die tonight? What if this is the last time I'll ever see my family? It just flashed through my head. And my cousins were so calm because this seems like such a reality to them. Every single day they have to live with this. The soldier was nice enough to let us through one by one. If 2 people tried to go, they'd automatically shoot. So we were all really careful. We were very lucky. We would have had to, I really don't know what we would have had to do if we weren't allowed through. But it's just the thought that they have to live with this reality. They have to every single day wake up and check the news to see if they're even allowed to go into the city today, to go to their jobs, to go to their schools, to go do the simplest things, buy groceries. I mean, my uncle, because we live in the outskirts of the city and there's a lot of problems in the city, my uncle did not work for 1.5 years. My uncle has 3 kids, 3 little kids that he can't explain to them why he can't buy them this toy or that toy, or why they can't get 2 candies and not 1. Just, I see the pain in their eyes. You look at them and you see, they smile at you. They try to give you this feeling that they're not that bad off and we shouldn't feel sorry for them or anything. But they live a different lifestyle. They really can't live a normal life, or normal meaning in the sense that me and you live. We can go and come, drive cars. Just even the little kids, they grow up with this thought in their mind. As soon as an Israeli Hummer passes by, you see the look in their faces change from joy to 100 mixed emotions. I hear 3-year-olds saying, I want to climb that tower over there and tell them to get out. A 3-year-old. barely talking, telling me that he wants to climb that high tower with 10, 15 soldiers fully armed, telling them to get out. It never really hit me. I always thought, okay, I go to Palestine, I visit my family, I have a good time, I see my cousins, I get to spend time with my family, get to know them. It didn't really hit me until I went by myself and visited my family alone. Because my parents, they can facilitate things because they all have American passports, and my dad works for the State Department, so he has a diplomatic passport. So things used to be very easy. But when I go, I'm a teenager with an American passport with an Arab name. It doesn't look good. It really doesn't. You get harassed on checkpoints. You just live with this constant not knowing of tomorrow. My cousin goes to the university. He might not come back. We hear different bombings, different shootings at night, and for them, they can sleep through it. I can't. I live in a suburb. I hear cars. Okay, that's fine. Hearing shots, hearing people screaming, going to funerals is part of their life and is not part of mine. And I keep trying to understand and trying to figure out, but I really don't see why people would put themselves through this. War is supposed to be about fighting for freedom, but you take away a person's freedom before you can give it back to them with no guarantee that they'll even give it back. It never really made sense to me, and to this day, I cannot understand why the people suffer. Thank you very much.
Hi, I am Sania, as he introduced, and I'm from Western Sahara, country that I never been, I never seen, even though I belong there. I never saw the trees or the mountains or the landscape of Western Sahara. I was born and brought up in refugee camp in southwest of Algeria, and that's where I'm living now, together with my family. Luckily, I didn't experience what my grandmother experienced, and my mother as well. Here I have a very short story from my grandmother, who and my mother truly experienced the war. She tells me how they had to cross the desert, because Western Sahara mostly is desert. When the Moroccan occupied Western Sahara, they had to flee. So it took them 3 weeks crossing the desert with no food, with going to a faith and unpredictable place, going and knowing and without knowing where they will end up. It took them 3 weeks hiding and trying to hide behind trees and rocks because the airplanes were dropping bombs. But unfortunately, at the end, my grandmother lost her 3 sons. She had 6 kids, 3 daughters and 3 sons, and she also lost her sight. And then when they eventually got to the refugee camp, 1 month later, they got the news that my grandmother was dead in the army. So now she's living a widow and taking care of 3, took care of 3 daughters, brought them and raised them in refugee camp literally with nothing. I was lucky to be born in refugee camp in a relatively safe place because we're in Algeria, so there is no expected bombing or anything like that from Morocco. But of course I was affected by the war in a different way. I lost my grandfather and I don't have any uncles. And of course I never get to see, I hope I will get to see my country. I live in these refugee camps in southwest Algeria. They're considered to be the biggest refugee camp with more than 200,000 people. We basically live in tents that are provided from United Nations. It's in desert. The temperature goes to more than 50 degrees. I don't know how many Fahrenheit are, probably more than 170. in summer and goes to 5 degrees in winter, very harsh, trains once or twice. The food we get it from international aid, something that's not secure. The life I've lived and I'm living is very insecure because, first of all, I live in a country that not mine, and the government can change in any moment. They can change their policies and decide to just not have us there anymore. And the other thing is the fact that we don't produce our own food because we are in a desert, not a productive place, and we get everything from others. And the others can stop providing food at any moment, and we just can starve to death. I was lucky to go to school, and if not, I wouldn't have been here. And the opportunities I have, not all the Sahrawis who live in the camps, of course, have it, and I'm very, very proud, and I'm sure my mother is proud too. All I hope is to at least breathe the air of my country and be able to live peacefully, live freely, be able to say that I'm Sahrawi and say it in exactly Western Sahara and be able to lift up the flag of Western Sahara in Western Sahara. And even though we've been waiting for now 32 years in these hard conditions in the camps, we still never give up and will never give up until something is done. And I hope a peaceful and a solution that both sides will accept and no one will be harmed anymore. Thank you.
My name is Mela Dama, and I am from Savu Savu in Fiji. I am proud of Fiji. We are the world rugby sevens champions. I am very happy to be at the World Scholar Athelete Games and to show the world that deaf people can participate and do things with hearing people. I hope to be the first deaf woman to graduate from high school in Fiji. Dr. Mackenzie asked me to share my thoughts about war in Iraq. Last Monday, I met my new friends from Iraq and also from Western Sahara. They are nice. We talked about our families, and we also talked about our future careers, and we enjoyed each other's company. My father is Mikael Dama, who is in the Fiji Army, and right now he is in Iraq. We last met last February when he came to Suva to say goodbye. He told me that he was going to Iraq. He told me that there was war in Iraq and he was going to help make peace. My father said that he would pray for me every day. And I told him that I would also pray for him every day. I love my father very, very deeply. He tells me that I am his favorite. So I do pray for my father every day. And I don't think about the war. I just think about my father. I worry that he will die. I do not know much about the war, but I do know that 13 or 14 Fijians have been killed there. My father went to Iraq because he could get more money there for our family than in Fiji. There are about over 5,000 Fijians in Iraq. They all go there so they can earn money to support their families in Fiji. On Monday, I met a very nice man, Mr. Bessel. He is an Iraqi who works for the US Embassy in Iraq. He gave me hope. And he also told me that he had met many, many Fijians and that they were in a safe place. He promised to go and find my father and give him a letter from me. Thank you, Mr. Bessel. On Tuesday, my mom called me. She told me that my father called from Iraq and said hello and that he loved me. I ask you to please pray for my father. Pray that he comes home to Fiji alive. Vinaka, I love you all. Thank you.
Moira Ganley. I'm from New Zealand and I'm the art mural instructor, helping out with the other instructors with the mural.
Yesterday we brainstormed and we discussed the ideas that all the students had, and they created some drawings and different things that they felt should go in the mural. And I collected that, and we collected pictures from magazines, and we designed this drawing that kind of encapsulates all the games. We have elements of Greek mythology here. We have the chessboard. We have almost like a man holding the world. And we have the sign for providence and giving and fairness, which has the scale and the symbolism for people that do things in the farmland. And there's also other elements that we're incorporating in this design that is not in this one, but if you can focus on the mural, there are things that are not here, but we have a really diverse group of people from different parts of the world working on this. And Moira, she's returning. I was her instructor in 2001, and she did an incredible job. And she has gone on to do really good artistic in New Zealand, and she's been shown in galleries, and that's a big success for us at the Games because she's coming back and she's putting her knowledge to this project.
In the next election, 2008, if the Hispanics drop 10% and go Democrat, the Republicans could lose. They need the Hispanic votes. And they're saying, if we put the guard on the border, the demagogues are going to, say we're anti-Hispanic or whatever they're going to say, and we're going to lose votes. That's the calculation. So they say to themselves, well, look, it's worth it for us to be in power, so this is one where we're not going to solve the problem. People buy houses on Long Island. That's what they do. It's the suburbs. And they spend a lot of money for their housing, just like you do here in Rhode Island, all right? It's hard to buy a house. It costs a lot of money to buy a house. So these people buy houses. And in a place called Farmingville, it's just a regular community, blue-collar community. And the houses go for about $200,000, $300,000. And there's just a block of houses, just like there is here. People live on a block, and they play Little League, and they do everything you do here. Okay. Farmingville happens to be on Long Island, a place where there are a lot of illegal immigrants. So these greedy landlords bought up some houses in Farmingville, and then they rented them out to illegal aliens. 60 illegal aliens were in one house, 2 bathrooms, 60 men, one house. Not enough bathrooms, not enough bedrooms, they're sleeping on mattresses. Now you can imagine, what if you live next to that house? What if you live next to that house? Your whole investment's down the drain. Who's gonna buy your house? You got little kids. They're looking at 60 guys who can't speak English, all right? Running around, running in and out. They're looking at guys going to the bathroom in the backyard because there's not enough bathrooms in the house. Is that where you're gonna live? Do you wanna live like that? Okay. So the pressure from the community, I mean, these people were going crazy. So the county executive, after months, finally gets a court order that this is a violation of zoning because they got 60 in a single family house. And he shuts the house down. They raided the house, shut it down, brought all the illegals in and let them go because you don't do that in New York, okay? And the liberal newspaper, Newsday, criticizes the county executive for doing that. Oh, leave them alone. What are they doing? They're just trying to make a living. Yeah, okay, they are just trying to make a living, these people. I always say, if I were in Mexico and I didn't have any money and I had 3 kids, I'd be an illegal alien too. I'd do the same damn thing they're doing. I would, all right? And so would you probably, if you had kids to feed. You'd do it too. That doesn't excuse our government for letting it happen. So what about these people in Farmingville? Who's looking out for them? The newspaper? Bull. All right? The county executive took all kinds of heat from doing it. Lawsuits, ACLU, you name it. Now, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You can't have a system like this so out of control. You just can't have it. MS-13, the El Salvadoran gang, I was talking to the Attorney General about that. How do you think they get here? You think they just fly in from El Salvador? No. They come in illegally and they set up their drug things and they kill people. And we don't know who they are or where they are. Come on. If you read the Constitution of the United States, the federal government exists for one reason, to protect you. Are these people protecting you in Congress? No. What they're doing is trying to get reelected and keep in their power. They don't care about solving this problem. They could solve it next week. You move 50,000 guard from Brownsville to San Diego, you solve the problem. Nobody's going to bring in narcotic weight over there because they'll lose their load. And the people who have to pay $1,000 for the coyotes to bring them across aren't going to pay the $1,000 because they're not going to make it. So it dries up. So what we need, ladies and gentlemen, in this country is kind of a mini revolution. We need to stop with this liberal conservatives. We need to stop with this right away. And we need to elect politicians who are looking out for us, who are willing to take the tough stands and tell you the truth and work to solve problems. Not BSers. When you go to their website and you see what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? We need a comprehensive approach. Right. When you hear they need a comprehensive approach, that means, I don't know what the hell to do. That's what that means. Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba, and it's a big harbor. In the middle of the 3 cell blocks is an office. And who's in that office? The International Red Cross, based out of Geneva, a very left-wing group, extremely left-wing group. They have an office right on the prison grounds, yards away. So after I got out of Guantanamo, and I was there, I left, and 4 hours later, the 3 guys hung themselves. Interesting story. No, I didn't have anything to do with that. But while I was there, I said to the commander of the jail, why are you letting the prisoners black out the window of their cell? And he said, because the International Red Cross demands that they have privacy. And that was exactly why these guys hung themselves, because the guards couldn't see into them. Interesting. So when I got back to New York from Guantanamo Bay, the first call my staff made was to Geneva, to the International Red Cross. And I asked the International Red Cross, do you have, out of the 357 detainees at Guantanamo Bay, do you have one credible case, or any credible cases, I'll take any, of mistreatment? No, not one. So all of this nutty, they're torturing, they're this, it's bull. Now, the mistake that the administration makes in Guantanamo is that it doesn't adjudicate these guys through the military courts, the tribunals. It should be chucking these guys through. Now, this week, the Supreme Court is going to rule on whether the military has jurisdiction to do that. I believe they will. The Supreme Court will say, yes, military tribunals can adjudicate their cases. I think that'll happen. I hope it happens. Because if not, then you got Moussaoui. You got these guys coming here, all of them will get lawyered up, 4 years, no Al-Qaeda is going to come in and testify against them because their whole family will be killed in a heartbeat. So who's going to testify against them? It's a joke. But the Bush administration dragged its feet by setting up the military courts. Only 10 have been tried out of the 360. And nobody can answer my question, the Bush administration, get it up and running. Show the world that we're not torturers and that we'll adjudicate it, but the military will do it. They don't belong in civilian court. They weren't caught here in the United States. I always tell this to people. There's a little saying in the Bible, to whom much is given, much is expected. All right? And you're here, you're getting educated, you have skills. That puts you ahead of 90% of other people in the world. So I just hope that when you're through with your schooling, whatever profession you decide to pursue, you help people. You get a job that helps people.
My name's Rico Turner. I'm from Georgia, and I'm here for golf.
Gray Hodge, I'm here for golf. I'm from Crothersville, Missouri.
Andrew McPherson, I'm here from Dallas, Texas. I'm here for golf.
Okay, thank you. And we have a reminder. 9, Caleb.
I'm Steve from Louisville, Kentucky, USA, and I'm being golf coach here at the World Scholar Athelete Games. It's a world-lightning experience.
That is your hole! Is there a problem here? Yes! It didn't get in his hole!
Hey, I'm Cooper from Mississippi, and my question's for Miss Mary Ann. I noticed when you were speaking, you made comments about Bill O'Reilly, and you probably get this a lot, but I do feel like, yes, he did have comments that might have offended some and might have made others upset, but yet at the same time, as with all the speakers at this, the World Scholar Athelete Games, he also made others think. And I noticed you specifically mentioned about his immigration policy and how you said you didn't approve of it. And I was wondering what your suggestion would be for the immigration policy.
I think it's a brave question to ask in this room, in this space. But the bottom line to me is we have to search our souls. What is the real reason that people who are not willing to let the people who are here continue their jobs, continue to strive, what are the real reasons that they want them sent back? Or worse, charged with a felony, and anybody who helps them be charged with a felony. What is the real reason? I think Rogers and Hammerstein said it. Thank you, dear.
Hi, my name is Zach Smith, and I'm from Idaho. And my question's for Mr. Hamilton. About 5 or 6 years ago, I was put into a situation like your own. I nearly lost my father, and within 2 years, I lost 2 relatives, very close, within a year and a half of each other. And I was wondering what words of advice you could give me to help other friends in the same situation.
I would hope that in your early life, when I talked about raising a child and asking that you behold the only thing greater than yourself, that whatever it is that you believe that there is a supreme power, that you have a faith in something, that it is that faith that will help to keep you strong during the course of these kinds of events. I think you develop that as we talked about the discipline and the understanding of the order of things, so that when the sudden storm arises, that you already know where the shelter is, that you don't look for it after the storm hits. And if you're able to have that grounding and that feeling and that understanding as you read and understand, that you will find strength both in what you have learned about the order of things and of the Supreme and how things occur, that you won't spend your time thinking about what you don't have, but that you will smile and think about what you had, and that you will take that experience and begin to live life, your life, for 2 people or 3 people to celebrate and commemorate the lives that may have gone elsewhere. And I think that's the greatest way of you develop that new energy and live for them and experience the things that they will no longer get to experience with you. But it's that carries you forward and carries me forward through that.
Good evening. My name is Alex Moses. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. Hi. My question is for Sue Ellen. You spoke in your speech about your relationship with your daughter and how she's the opposite of you. Similar to you, my mother and I are actually very close, except for when it comes to my pursuit of writing. And I was wondering if you had any advice for me that I could give to my mother, especially in your own
I mean, do you mean your mother doesn't want you to pursue
My mother
writing?
doesn't approve of my career choice.
Well, you just keep doing it. That's my advice.
Thank you.
I will say this. Even as a writer, I mean, my daughter wanted to be a visual artist from a very early age, but because I am now the age I am, and I want to see her be able to support herself economically as an adult, I have to say, there was some trouble in our family about her decision to go to art school. It's not that we disapprove. My husband's a, museum guy, and I'm a poet. But, there was that concern that if she pursued art alone and didn't get a well-rounded education, that she wouldn't be able to support herself. And she just went ahead and did it anyway. So I guess that's the answer.
I'm Emily, and I'm from North Carolina, and I'm doing track. I'm an athletics coach, track and field, long distance.
Hot stand, right? Hot stand. You gotta get your knees high. Line up, high knees, head up, chest out, good arm. Got it? Let's go. Slow. A lot of touches, but slow. Next. Don't look down. Don't look down. Look down the track. Good. Go down between your legs and see where you've been. Hello. Reach back. Go up to your legs. Good job.
Oh, it's great. These guys are all very intelligent. The thing about it is you can show them a play on paper and then go out there and run it. So you don't have to really practice as hard. And the group I've got really plays hard. I mean, I love watching them play. They get on the floor, they get after. That's my type of players.
I'm from Washington, D.C. Actually, I was born and raised in Washington. I live here in Rhode Island. I come down to the Scholar Games to pay my debt to help young people that are going this way, not to go down. I'm a correctional officer at the ACI for 30 years. So this is what I enjoy doing. And with young people like this, we're gonna go a long way. Is there anything you like to say, like hi mom? Hi mom. Different skill levels, different attitudes. We even have a young man here that doesn't speak, but we're able to sign language. Say hi. See? And he's a good player and a great guy. I would kiss him, but he might fight. Okay.
It's great because you're finding different kids from different countries and there's different styles of play. So you're looking at all different styles of playing, and it's really working out really well. And I'm very fortunate to be here.
My name is Al Shaheen Cole. I'm from Albany, New York.
I'm here to play basketball, and I wanted to meet a lot of different kids from a lot of different areas. And this is me after a win.
I'm coach at Duffy Basketball for Ireland, and I'm about to kill someone. Excuse me a second. Go ahead. Okay, it's quite good. Quite good. Brilliant. You know, I think it's magic.